right? So who don't attend will got 0 for the activities, for the class activities. So must attend all lah. Okay, bila nak keluar poster ni?
On the way, sir.
On the way, Good, betul boleh keluar awal lah, kalau boleh kan. Poster design make sure according to UEM requirement standards, HCP standards, Okay, Iqbal? Sebab awak bawa kelab IB kan?
Yes, sir. Betul.
So make sure poster ikut standard UEM, HCP. Okay?
Okay, sir.
Any more question? Second group, talk, standby. Right? Second, third group, standby. First group dah ada. Good job, Iqbal and the team. Second group, third group. So please take note. Iqbal, nanti dah siap nanti talk tu. You buat report
Okay, baik, sir.
Report senarai komiti awak. Make sure semua dalam team tu ada. Kalau tak ada nama, saya tolak tak pergi markah. Faham tak? Semua team members pastikan nama awak ada. Okay, kalau tak ada, maksudnya awak tak menyumbang lah. Faham tak? Iqbal ketua kan. Kalau tak nyumbang, Iqbal kata tak menyumbang, tak ada markah lah awak. Okay. So make sure semua menyumbang dan nama senarai AJK dan apa nama ni, poster tu masuk dalam report dan synopsis of the talk lah. Apa nama ni, dan dia punya recording of the talk itu penting juga so kena ada semua, right? And then attendance of the talk. Okay, Iqbal
Okay, sir.
Sir,
Alright. Yes, siapa je kamu?
we are from group 3.
Sir, we plan to do our talk on early of January. Is that okay, sir?
Early January still your academic time ke dah habis dah? You dah balik? You dah habis academic time?
Still academic time, sir.
You must be careful because January is our go green time. Faham tak? Jangan overlapping dengan kita punya go green Sebab go green not be decided yet. Nanti committee dah form baru kita nak decide when. Okay. But usually in the last week or last 2 weeks of your classes. Right? Okay.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
So don't overlap dengan kita punya date. You just reserve 2 weeks before finish tu kan, finish class academic time tu. Don't touch that one You want the early, other than that, okay, I think it should be okay. Right?
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Others? Any question? Okay, no question. We proceed the class. How about student have class on that time, sir? Tuesday ada time ke ni? Ada time tu, ada kelas tu. Ada ni? Do you have class on Tuesday? Kelas apa? Strategic. Oh, strategic ini kelas SBM $11:30. Adik, dia ke bang? Talk tu start pukul apa?
Speaker tu minta pukul 11 lah.
Then 11:30 is half an hour after 11, so the talk begin at 11. You must be in the class 11, right? In the class, in the talk 11 okay. For tiny also your class start 11 a.m. Just join the talk first, then join the class lah. Right? Ataupun you can join both. Pinjamlah laptop siapa Ustaz kan, buat dua-dua sekali. Okay? Because attendance will be taken Iqbal, buat cara scanning code Alright?
Okay, sir.
Okay? So it should come because benda ni is unavoidable lah. The speaker punya time kan, kita nak invite, kena ikut time dia lah kan Nasib baik hari Selasa kan, kalau hari kelas lain susah. So for your speakers please inform the speakers that if possible Sunday and Wednesday 2:30 to 4 the time kan. Cantik lah kalau time kelas kan 2:45 lah. 2:30 kan tak boleh masuk kan, 2:45 2:45 to 4. Right, tak lama sekejap je So mention them the time. Kalau let's say I cannot make it the time, tak apalah. Make it on Tuesday kan, if possible lah. Tuesday okay. So jangan ambil hari lain hari lain belum ada kelas. Okay. Alright, any more questions? No more good. So today we'll touch about a topic on inland waterways. Inland waterways. Like I told before, in the literatures, they mention that water transport covers both inland waterways and also maritime, right? The term is water transport because sea is water also, right? River is water. The difference between sea and river is fresh water and salty water. So that's why they mention water transportation They cover both. Siapa buka mic ni? Siapa buka mic? Ching Hong Ching Hong. Ching Hong. You open your mic. You on your mic. Ching Hong. Ching Hong.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you off your mic. No, don't open your mic.
Oh no! Oh, actually, my laptop is showing is connecting the video, but it's still connecting. So I don't know, sir. I'm sorry. I off it now.
You off it. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So in the literature, water transport consists of two modes. Two types of transportations. One is maritime, one is inland waterways. Both are the same water transport. Okay, but usually we call it maritime if you want to focus on maritime lah. Right, but categorize both are water transport. Still not off, lah, Sing Jong.
Still open?
Still open.
Sorry, sir. I getting close again. I quit now. I'm sorry,
You
sir.
quit, enter again. Okay.
Okay.
Don't quit and left. Quit, enter again.
Okay.
All right. Okay, so that's the main water transport. Why they refer water transport as maritime and waterways. Waterways. Initially, maritime is about sea, and inland is about waterways inland, right? In the land, waterways in the land, not involve sea, right? That's what they call inland waterways. But both are about water transport, same thing. Okay. Okay, waterborne transport includes maritime and inland. So wait, I will observe this. Wait. So usually we talk about inland waterways is about ferry. Ferry. This kind of ferry for inland waterways exists in Sarawak, right? In Peninsula they don't have. In Peninsula we have ferry that commuting ferry from Langkawi to Perlis and Kedah. That one is not inland waterways. That one is coastal waters. Consider maritime, so lah, maritime. But for this kind of ferry, we have it in Sarawak. This kind of ferries. Sarawak Rejang River is quite big. It's quite big and quite long. Inside Sarawak, so the rivers is the main commuting mode for the people in the remote areas of Sarawak. Okay? And then the second one is this Bash. This is Bash. Bash ni maksudnya tongkang. In Malay is tongkang. In English is Bash. Right? Those days tongkang is different looking, right? Like the Chinese boat, tongkang tu. Tapi nowadays tongkang is like this. Bash. Bash. They can carry many cargoes, type of cargoes. They can carry bulk cargoes, they can carry containers, also can, right? But through rivers, right? Usually through rivers, Okay, waterborne transport includes maritime and inland waterways, which cover both freight and passenger, right? Both freight and passenger. You must remember, when you talk about logistics, you talk transportation, is a mobility of freight and passenger only. All right. I keep saying this because you must understand when you talk about logistics, is the mobility of freight and passengers, right? Human logistics, freight logistics. Okay. Other than that, it's not about logistics. Example, also is although it's involved mobility, but it's other than freight and people. It's not about logistics, right? Maybe you will ask yourself, what do you mean by human logistics? Human logistics, if we are Muslim, we can have a good example of human logistics during the pilgrimage. Pilgrimage maksudnya musim haji. Musim haji whereby there's millions of Muslim going to Mecca, and the Saudi government need to have a proper human logistics management, whereby they need to manage the lodging, the staying of the people involving in the pilgrimage, the food supply, right? Hospitalizations, hospital facilities, transportation facilities, movement, right? These are called human logistics. It's very important during especially big gatherings of people, even during wartime, right? Transferring of troops, right? These are the things. But freight logistics, as you all learn, like warehouse, right, for the distribution, packaging, transportation, right? This is about freight. So logistics and transportation is about these two. None other than that, right? Jangan asal bergerak je kata logistik, kan? Tak boleh. Just considering the mobilization of freight and passenger only. Okay? So maritime transport is divided into two types of mobility. First is short sea shipping. Short sea shipping. Oh, dia punya ni bagus juga. Short sea shipping, right? Nak try sebut je laju boleh tak? Ibu try tengok. Short sea shipping, right? Short sea shipping ni shipping that involve coastal areas of the borders, right? Of the country borders. Coastal areas of the country borders, meaning that usually countries that border with sea, they have coastal area, right? Short sea shipping means that the shipping is within the range of the coastal areas, not far from the beaches, not far from the beaches, right? It's coastal waters lah. Coastal waters is around 0 to 15 to 18 kilometers from the borders from the beaches lah, right? Okay. 10 to 18 to 22 lah, if I'm mistaken. That is coastal waters. The other one is deep sea shipping. And deep sea shipping is a long trade navigation. It's about international waters lah. International trade routes. Ocean shipping lah, right? Ocean. Ocean ni maksudnya laut dalam lah. Perkapalan laut dalam. More shipping. Right? Short sea shipping include the movement of cargo sama juga mainly by sea. Macam ferry lah, ferry Langkawi tu kan, tu coastal lah. Ferry Langkawi kan semua tu, and then dulu ada ferry Muhibah kan between Peninsula and Sabah and Sarawak. Although it's involved South China Sea, but it's considering a coastal shipping because it's between countries, between Sabah, Sarawak and Peninsula. It's between the countries lah. Yang banyak coastal shipping ni Indonesia lah. Maritime countries yang banyak, macam dia banyak island kan. Indonesia has many islands, thousands of islands. Between island is considered short sea shipping lah. Right? Deep sea shipping refers to the maritime transport of goods of intercontinental routes crossing oceans. The terms can be understandable. Referring to deep sea is ocean shipping, right? It involves long distance and is generally carried out by liner shipping, liner or tram, all the same, but involving international international shipping, right? International waters. All right. Later you will learn what is coastal waters, what is economic zone waters, what is the international waters. Usually there's many disputes within this territory. They call it what, the EEZ, economic zone waters. For example, like Batu Putih in Singapore. Batu Putih, Singapore is a coastal. Actually, it's a coastal waters because very close to Johor, right, and very close also to Singapore. So they are disputing because they are overlapping, right? Because dia dekat. Contohnya macam Singapore and Batam, right? Singapore and Batam is quite close. Sometimes the waters is overlapping, the coastal waters. So it's difficult lah. This we need a mutual understanding between two countries, right? Mutual understanding so that mutual benefit will be achieved for mobilizations of cargoes and passengers, right? So like Singapore and Malaysia, the issue is Batu Putih, Perda Blanca kan, the what they call it, Batu Putih area there. We dispute with Singapore. Why? Because we assume that that is ours, but Singapore also that is theirs. So all both countries giving reason why. Finally, the World Court in Geneva World Court putuskan initial judgment is it belong to Singapore. Why? Because although the area is close to Johor, but the old Johor government ignore it, right? And how they ignore it is Singapore building lighthouse and building center military there. They just ignore. They just don't bother. Singapore raise up their flag there also. Johor government just ignore. So finally, the World Court make a judgment that it belongs to Singapore. But Malaysian government already agreed the judgment, right? But the new government said no, and we want to fight again. Then it will be never ending story, right? Okay. So inland waterways transport carried out on navigable waterways like rivers, canals, and lakes. So these are inland waterways. It involves rivers, it involves canals and lakes. In Malaysia, there's less. In Peninsula especially, the rivers is not much and not many, and short distance rivers. They don't go like Sabah and Sarawak. The rivers is big and long. Long meaning that going out, reach out to the remote areas, right? The only rivers before modernizations, those days in 1800 or 1700, yes, people use rivers because no roads, no proper roads, no other mode of transportation that is faster than rivers. They use rivers, but nowadays no more because it's been taken over by roads, by air, right? In Peninsula lah. In Sabah Sarawak, still yes, because it's not the CBA, the cost benefit analysis to develop roads in the rural areas is not achieving the cost benefit analysis, because you need to spend millions or billions, but the benefit is only to a few families, right, in the village. So not productive lah, right, investment. But now actually in Sabah Sarawak they have built the Point Borneo highways, a double carriageway from Kuching to Kotok Keki, through many cities along the route. That one is a good development infrastructure for the mobilization of people and cargoes from the rural areas, right? So other than that, they use inland waterways, the rivers. That's why you can see in Sarawak, they use the ferry like in the picture before I show you. The ferries, they've been used in the Rejang River, right? Okay, the important, but other countries, for example, big countries like Russia, like America, like Canada, right? big continent countries, the inland waterways is very important, right? Still very important, right? For example, in Europe, the North Sea Baltic corridor, in Mediterranean corridor, the East Mediterranean corridor, right? The Rhine in Europe, in Germany, France, Spain, Alpine corridor, the Atlantic corridor, the North Sea and Mediterranean corridor, the Rhine, the Danube corridor. So these are the inland waterways in the Europe, and also in America. They have also a special, very important network of inland waterways. In China, there's a lot juga. These are big countries, big continent countries. They need still appreciate the inland waterways, and they need to use it. They need to use it for the economic reasons, for the tourism reasons, right? There are many reasons, but Malaysia usually rivers is based on leisure tourism reason. Okay, but other countries they use it to commuting. They use it to importing mobility of goods and freights. Mobility of raw materials from the remote area to the cities. They use rivers. Rejang also been initially they use Rejang for movement of timber, pala, from the rural areas to the ports. They use rivers for timbers, timbers movement. So timbers mobility. So usually rivers being used to move out the cargo lah, the raw material. Those days during the colonial days, they use train to move tin from the rural areas, right? Because lacking of rivers there. I think if they have rivers, they will use rivers. It's easier. It's cheaper, right? Cheaper. Maritime is cheaper as compared to road and rail and air, because you don't need to build the way. It's a natural way, right? You just imagine, a shoes that been made mass production in Vietnam, been exported to US. The cost per shoe, if you use containerizations, you use shipping or maritime, is only 30 cents per shoes. Because one container can fit a few thousand shoes, right? So the cost is 30 cents only per shoes. It's very cheap, right? Those days the rate per container is $1,000 only. But now now the rate, because of disruptions, because of the congestions in the port in LA and along the east coast of the American continent, it's full of congestions and disruption of supply chain. The cost of one container movement from Asia to US goes up to until $35,000 per box. That's why people are talking about inflations. Is what will happen in the world now. Inflation, you know what is inflation? Who knows what is inflation? When you talk about maritime, and it's about international trade, you need to know some economics also, right? Some economics. economy knowledge. So what is inflation? Who knows? What the chat?
Sir, is it like when the demand increase and the price will increase as well?
Demand increase, price increase.
Yes.
Demand increase, price increase. Yes, but not quite. Not. What is inflation? Who knows?
Price increase but the money punya ni still low.
The inflation is about price increase, right? That's what the consumer price index (CPI). So they will check on the percentage of increase, right? Nowadays, most countries, because of the pandemic, the inflation is high. Usually, the inflation is around 3% or 4% below, right? But now, some countries have suffer higher inflation rates, 8%, 7%, right? In those countries that are not well economically stable, right? Like for example, in Latin America, apa nama negara dia? Bolivia ke ataupun Bolivia ke apa? Bolivia, if not mistaken, ataupun apa nama lah. Dia punya inflation rate is Mexico ke Bolivia je kan? Dia punya inflation rate is tremendously high. It's too high, double digit. Okay, to the extent that it's worse. To the extent that you buy a chicken in the morning, the price is different in the evening. Understand? Pagi petang dah beza dah. Faham tak? And then you need more money to buy same thing as before. Before inflation, you need $10 to buy a chicken, for example. Now you need $20 to buy a chicken. That one is bad. That one is inflation, right? Price good getting higher and getting higher faster. Quick, cepat. Nampak sekarang ni kan, dulu ayam RM5 sekilo, sekarang dah RM9, RM10 sekilo. Awak tak rasa sebab awak beli ayam di kedai makan. Tapi kalau jadi household ataupun jadi you are involved in cooking or you are involved in the family punya cost, expenses, you'll be really affected because it's different. Now with RM10 or RM15, you go to the market, you can buy one chicken only. And a little bit of vegetables. RM50. Seekor chicken dengan vegetables. For example lah kan. Macam mana? Dulu pergi simat, RM50. Kira macam-macam dia belilah kan. Sekarang ni dia pergi bawa RM50 dapat beli apa? Tea life saja. Tiga cawan, lepas tu nak beli apa tak boleh lah. Kan? Nampak? It's inflation. Right? When I stay in England during my study days, in England, you don't compare pound to ringgit, you compare pound to pound, ringgit to ringgit kan. Contohnya macam 50 pound to 50 ringgit. You take 50 pound, you go to supermarket, you buy raw material to cook, raw material, fresh material to cook, fresh goods to cook, full trolley, 50 pound. Full trolley. Kalau you beli ayam, ikan, sayur, memang kan, beras ke semua full lah, 50 pound. But RM50 in Malaysia, you can full trolley or not? Cannot, right? So this is different between two countries. Although you say pound value is too high, it's high compared to ringgit, £1 to RM6. But pound to pound to ringgit in England still affordable, still cheaper. Because 50 pound you can full your trolley with all fresh goods to cook lah. But in Malaysia tak boleh. RM50 tak dapat apa pun. Betul tak? Because of inflation. And why inflation happen? Many reasons. First, like pandemic kan. Because pandemic affect the whole world. And pandemic itu one thing, not so much affected. But the measurement to control the pandemic affect the economy. The PKPs, the lockdowns. Lockdown not only Malaysia, all over the world lockdown. China lockdown, right? Because of China lockdown, the port lockdowns. Because of the port lockdowns, everything jammed. Because China is the biggest exporters and importers in the world. China, America, right? If all this port lockdown, it will affect the supply chain. Disruption memang affected. Yeah. And to go back to the same normal situation before pandemic, it takes years. Yeah, you just imagine the port. Why you say why America port congested? America kan developed countries, maju kan. Why affected? Very slow. You know, they are working 24 hours at the port to settle, to clear all the cargo, all the containers. Still working 20 hours now. And the ship harboring at the port, outside the port, is 20, 30, 40 ships, vessels to wait to enter the port. And the waiting time is only not 1-2 days, 2 weeks. They must wait outside. 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. How long you must stay idle like that, waiting to be accepted to be harboring at the port? 3 weeks, 2 weeks. Before this, no waiting. Before pandemic, there's no waiting. Just go inside. You reach the port, just immediately can go inside and park and harbor the ship and load and unload your cargoes. But no, cannot. You must wait for 3 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks outside the port. Idling 2 or 3 weeks is money, It's money, right? You are talking about business, time is money. So, but they cannot have it because the port is congested with containers. They want to clear the previous containers, That's why the effect of this supply chain disruption is great to the world. It will increase the inflation rates. When this happen, the cargo rate, the freight rate is getting higher. You know why? Because they need to harbor 3 weeks to wait. That is the Los Angeles port. Like what about other ports in the world? Maybe the same. Still waiting. Waiting is cost. That's why they increase the rates from 1,000 to 35,000 per box. Crazy, yeah. That's why all the shipping lines nowadays are getting profit more than Amazon, more than George Bezos. Right, Amazon, selalu Amazon paling tinggi kan. Profit because e-platform. E-platform memang untung banyak, tetapi yang lagi banyak untung sekarang ni shipping lines, because the demand is too high and the port cannot handle it. There are many backlogs of containers. Container lama tersimpan kat port lama sangat, tak boleh clear lagi, tak habis clear. Bukan tak boleh clear, tak habis clear tu nak. Just imagine, right? So that's why inflation going up. Why? Because the freight rate is higher. Just imagine the freight rate from 1,000 per box to 35,000, 24,000. And who want to bear the cost? The exporter, the shippers must definitely they're the one to pay the cost. The carrier put the charge of the freight rates. But do you think the shippers or the exporters want to bear the cost? No, they will transfer it to the users, consumers. That's why they want to maintain their profit, but the cost is higher. Right? Initially, it's 30 cents per shoes from Vietnam to US, but now it cannot be 30 cents. It will be $3 per shoes. 30 cents to $3, how many percent increase price? That is inflation, right? So the effect is great. The compounding effect, compounding effect. Effect of disruption is compounded to other things, compounded to inflation, everything. So what in Malaysia, the associations of borrowers in Malaysia mentioned that next year there will be more business people in Malaysia, entrepreneurs, SMEs, or whatever, declare bankrupt. Why? Because all this while the government pump in some incentive for the company to survive, but this incentive won't last long, won't be forever, right? So government will stop next year. When they stop the incentive, then the suffer begin. Where they want to get the money to continue survivability. If the pandemic is still not finished, it would be worse. That's why the disruption is not ending near the corner. It's still going on. Nowadays, we see that the fourth wave of pandemic is coming in Europe. Europe going back to lockdowns, certain places. How? Right. That's why the international media analysis of business say is about chaos. Chaos compounding another chaos. Chaos. Chaos kan chaos. Chaos macam hara lah kan, macam masalah lah. Chaos compounding another chaos. And alright. So that's why you to be unfortunate. Living in the world gone through pandemic, right? A pandemic really affect the world economy and the world community. You never tak sangka nowadays, even during the pandemic, even the aircraft cannot fly, right? Before pandemic, people talk about car flying, right? Flying car, everything, right? Technology, right? But now even aircraft cannot fly, right? Because of pandemic. How many aircraft stranded at the airport? That one also cost, because it's not the airport won't allow free parking. They will charge the airline. See, that's why airline pun suffer to go, suffering from the pandemic all around the world. Right? So these are the things, and that's why in blockchain, you must have a little thinking yang berkait. Relative thinking punya skills. This thing happen here. What does it affect to others? How does it affect to other part? How does it affect to other fields? Right. So it's a cycle, right? The cycle, right? So disruptions of supply chain. What does it affect? The compounding effect to the economy. Nampak? What does congestion do to the economy? Congestion at the port, right? See, so these are the things you need to think. Okay. Hopefully Malaysia is okay lah. Hopefully lah. Kita pray to God, Malaysia will survive all these things, right? You know, in China, remember I mentioned to you the policy that China did to the people. One family, family planning new policies. One baby per one family. Start in 1980s, right? The policy they did just to ensure that the China afford to take care of the people, because that time China is a very poor country in 1980s, very poor country, right? They make the policy one baby, one family, right? And then China grow well in 40 years until today. China be the richest country in the world now, right? Why? Because every year from 1990s sampai now, the growth of China is 10% GDP growth every year. This year 10%, next year 10% some more. So just imagine the compounded effect to the economy. China is full of rich people, but because the pandemic affected China also. Now the growth is 3%, but still growing 3%. Some countries even negative growing. Malaysia, we don't know yet how many percent. Those days last they mentioned it only 1% to 2% and growth. They affect every country in the world. Hopefully our country can able to survive lah. Kan? Don't be like other countries yang whereby deficit inflation is very bad. You buy chicken in the morning is $10. In the evening you buy is $100. Just imagine $100. There will be many poor people that time, right? So hopefully what they predicted that next year will be people bankrupt, no bankrupt. Bankrupt meaning that the soft, dia tak ada duit nak bayar hutang dia. They will be what? but accountable to the debts they made, they cannot live lah. And even their passport, they cannot go out, travel outside also. The passport will be whole bankrupt people, right? So be careful. Hopefully everything goes well for Malaysia next year. That's why people are getting angry with the government because our ex-prime minister get us just a free house for 100 million, right? That one really tapi that one doesn't affect the result of the election in Malacca, right? Still they win. That one no. This thing really affect our FDI, you know FDI, federal apa? Foreign investment, foreign investment. So affect the FDI because people will think our nation are not a good nation. Although you have corrupted leaders, you still give support. That one is very bad. FDI, FDI. Now FDI most going to Indonesians. Tesla is going to Indonesia. Honda is going to Indonesia. Right. So that we must be very careful. If not, we will left behind and suffer. Okay. Any question? You see, when I explain something, I explain in the world scenario, right? So that's why it's very important for you as logisticians, need to have a kind of mind setting that think global. You do local but think global. Okay. So these are the inland waterways in America, right? This in Timor, and east west, east and west. So the rivers is here. There are many rivers here, and lakes are here. There are lakes. There are 3 big lakes. This is American border with Canada. See, Ohio River, right? See, because of the inland waterways activities, they open jobs, open jobs to the people, millions of jobs. This one is the green one, the Ohio River, 68,000 jobs offering, right? These upper Mississippi rivers, upper ni lower. This is Mississippi rivers. Quite long river, very long rivers. Right? The upper one offer jobs for 59,000 people involved with inland waterways in upper Mississippi. Lower Mississippi is around 82,000 jobs. Right? This one is Gulf Intercoastal Waterways. This is Gulf ni because this is Gulf lah. Teluk ni teluk. Teluk ni sebab bentuk macam ni kan. Gulf Intercoastal. The link dengan sea and rivers. Right? 153,000 jobs offered. Million jobs, depend. And this one, the last one is Pacific Northwest inland waterways, covers 5,000. So you just imagine they offer nearly millions of jobs for inland waterways operations. Millions of logisticians. If Malaysia can offer like this, just imagine you all great mesti ada kerja punya. Kan? Kita less utilize river actually. Right? Those days, ni last in early 2000 to 2010, they have done a study, They done a study in Lembah Kelang and also in Kelang itself to utilize the rivers as the mode of transportation. Why? Because the rivers is much more ready, is natural, and it's cheap to operate. Right? For example, in Bangkok, they use rivers as taxis. Certain part of Bangkok, they use rivers as taxis. And very popular among them because it's cheap and fast. Because there's no jams. They don't share with others. We want to introduce that actually in Klang, but in KL cannot because the river is being used as a aesthetic values. Aesthetic values meaning that as an attraction for people to stay, to use the rivers as a place whereby they can enjoy the beauty, enjoy the scenery, right? But in Klang, they want to use the rivers, but I don't know what happened. The study done is viable. Study have been done, is feasible, is viable to do, but they don't proceed. I don't know why. That one is policy, government policy or whatever, you know lah. So that is the way lah. In Bangkok, if you go to Bangkok, pernah pergi Bangkok tak? Bangkok, they use rivers as a taxis. In Sarawak, Kuching, they use rivers also as a commuting. But that one is for more on leisure lah. Leisure and some commuting, but not much. Not seriously on commuting, but more on leisure tourism lah. Right. In Kuching lah, but in other Rejang River, rural area inside, further inside remote areas, they use it as commuting lah. Right. But the activities that create jobs is less. Even nearly nil lah. Tak ada pun activities yang create jobs on logistation on inland waterways in Malaysia, right? But you see in America, it's offer jobs, millions of jobs. So how big is America? How important is the inland waterways in America? This is more detail on inland waterways. You see here the upper Mississippi, lower Mississippi. So you see all, and then here the coastal, right? And here apa nama ni tadi apa ya? Tengah sini, this one. This one, you know St. Lawrence? Right, St. Lawrence, I mentioned the last class is about Seaway, right? St. Lawrence Waterway. Here, right? They link the St. Lawrence River with all these lakes. They use canals that have locking canals, right? And then from this canal, all these canals, because they link all the lakes, and near the lakes they have big cities, like as I mentioned before, like Toronto, Quebec, Detroit, and Chicago. So there's activities, economic activities. So they have they use this St. Lawrence waterways or seaways going up to the St. Lawrence, then straight to the sea and to the Atlantic Oceans. Right. This one, the west part is this very populated areas. Right. There are many big cities here, New York, a very populated area here. So the area that been surrounded by rivers, mostly are populated areas. Upper Mississippi, Lower Mississippi, right? Ohio kan. This one is the coastal, intercoastal Gulf, and this one is what called tadi Portland. Apa nama tadi? Lupa dah. Northwest, Pacific Northwest, right? Ini lebih detail lah plan dengan bandar-bandar yang terlibat kan. So it's interesting. So waterways transportation can ease traffic congestion, definitely. That's why they use rivers, because they don't share mode with other modes. Only the rivers only can be used by boats and ships for the rivers or ferries, not the mode. Right, so like road transport, they share many type of mode, many type of transportation, from cars to motorcycles to trucks to lorries. Again, they share a lot, right? But this one river waterways, they don't share much, right? That's why they can ease traffic congestions. And you just imagine one bus can carry 1,700 tons. Right? One bus can carry 1,700 tons, equivalent to 70 trailers. Tractor, maksudnya tank trucks lah. 70 trailer, truck panjang-panjang kan. One bus equivalent to 70 trailers can carry. One bus can carry 1,700 ton. Based on the container, one bus can carry 70 containers. That 70 containers equivalent to 70 tractors ataupun trailers on the road. equivalent to 60 train cars, 16 coaches that carry the container. Just imagine, only one bus, one tongkang besar kan, for river lah. So it's economic, they achieve economy of scale, right? Then in America, 578 million tons moved by bus annually. Setahun 578 million, maksud it's a lot, it's a lot. Alright, equivalent to 23.1 million tractors or trailers. The tractors ni, kenapa dia orang sana panggil tractors? You must know that the motive power, the head of the trailers, they call it tractors, right? That's why they call tractor trailers. Trailers ni belakang yang bawa container tu panggil trailers. Tapi kita orang Malaysia, trailer ni the whole thing, right? It's trailer, right? But in US, in US, they call it tractor and trailers, right? Tractor is the mover. Trailers is the carrier of the container, right? In Europe, in England, they call it juggernauts. Juggernauts is a big trailers, right? So that's why you when you go outside or you read a lot, you can see the terms they use in other countries is different, right? Right? So equivalent to 23 million trailers or 5.3 million train cars. A lot, Okay. So how important is the inland waterways in US? You see, it's very big amount, right? More than 13 times. Okay. Kalau this slide is just to show you how important is inland waterways to the US. 5.3 million train cars spanning 50,000 miles through New York to LA. Ini panjang kereta api, banyaknya kontainer yang di-carry oleh kereta api ni, right? Sepanjang LA to New York, crossing the continent, 50,000 miles. Bersambung-sambung. Itu nilainya 5 million trains, cars, to carry this amount. Right? Okay. Ini bersama dia menerangkan how important is inland waterways compared to other road. Maksudnya one bus can carry how many, right? It's equivalent. Alright. Cost of it, and these are the importance of inland. These are to show the importance of inland waterways to the US economy. Even not the US, to other countries that really fully utilize these inland waterways. Moving gasoline, petroleum or liquids, apa nama ni, water transport, waterways also can move tankers, gasoline, waterways, gasoline, petroleum and other liquids. So just imagine one bus of carrying all this thing, affecting 144 trailers, right? And 46 railways. See? So these are the importance of inland waterways to the economy of the country involved. Right? Okay. Ports are land-based infrastructure serving waterborne transport. Ports, port does not only deal with maritime. Right? Port also deal with inland waterways. Okay. So they are land-based infrastructure. Land-based infrastructure serving waterborne transport, serving maritime and waterways, inland waterways. Okay. As usual, port being used as loading and unloading freights and providing catering, fresh waters and supplies to the ships. Larger ships are used for deep sea and smaller ones for short sea transport. Whereby barges used only for inland waterways. And that is different. When you talk about inland waterways, usually they don't use ships, but it looks like ships. It's a barge, they call it barge. Tongkang, barges. Okay, crew members for maritime. That department, we need, the slide is to highlight the difference between the staff and the human resource of maritime as compared to inland waterways. The terms. This is for maritime, the deck department. Deck department with deck officers. That sometimes called chief officers, second officers, third officers, cadet, and deck ratings. Engine department, they have engineers. Engineers, there are many engineers. Chief engineers, first engineer, second engineer, third engineers, third assistant engineers, and engine cadet. There are many supporting the chief engineers. Then the catering department, which involve cooks and stewards. The top is the captain, right? The captain of the ship. That's why the captain's salary is lot. Some senior captain can go up to 100,000 US per month. Bayang gaji awak 100,000 US per month. Tapi masalahnya you don't stay at home lah. You travel for a few months, then you break for a few months. Best tak macam tu? Awak belayar 6 bulan, cuti 3 bulan. Gaji 100,000 sebulan. Best tak? You like it? Suka tak suka? Suka tak suka? Best ke Oh, best. Tapi for lelaki je lah Ain. Kan? Perempuan tak ada B, kita tengah laut seorang bahaya kan. Okay. My friend as a chief engineer for the ship, for Petronas ship. His salary is 30,000 ringgit per month. Saya tanya dia best tak duduk laut kan? Dia kata aku nak muntah duduk laut je kan. Tapi terpaksa nak cari duit kan, nak makan kan, for family kan. Kalau ikut dia tak nak kau dah bosan lah. Laut ni yang bestnya first week je. Masuk second week you dah benci kan. Because you are travelling on the sea, right? And through ocean, you nampak apa? Bangun pagi nampak laut. Bangun pagi nampak laut. Itu je. Kadang-kadang ribut kan, lagu lora. Lagi pening, muntah kan. 3 bulan macam tu. Berhenti sekejap dekat port, turunkan kapal semua kan. Turunkan loading cargo, few 1 or 2 days, then jalan balik. Kan? Jadi boring. Tapi memang gaji besar kan. Lepas 3 bulan, you work 3 months to 6 months on the ship kan. 4 to 5 months on the ship. Right? All paid for. Kan dia chief engineer, makan sekali dengan captain. Makan macam hari-hari macam makan dalam hotel lah, macam hotel kan. Hari-hari somebody serve you, or the menu pun you can choose menu, or selang sehari lobster kan, lobster saja kan. Dia kata tak larat nak makan lah kan. Sehari 2 hari boleh lah, seminggu 2 minggu, sebulan hari makan benda yang untuk abad ni boring juga kan. Faham tak? Chief engineer bangun pagi, exercise, makan, turun sikit. Halo? Ya. Ada berlanjut itu tekan loceng boleh tak? Saya ada kelas ni. Tekan loceng ni. Ni anak-anak saya keluar. IC 671212015093. 93. Okay, baik. Okay, so just imagine chief engineer every day in the engine room. Pakai earphone tu kan, earphone apa? Pakai tutup telinga tu kan. Enjin bising kan, enjin kapal. Enjin kapal besar bangunan, besar sebesar STML tu kan. Just imagine you bising tu kan. Apa yang kan? Hari-hari awak tahan. Break baru naik atas. Lepas malam-malam bolehlah lepak kat deck kan. Tu je. Kan. Jadi memang gaji besar, tapi gaji tak usik. Kan. Tapi hari cuti 2 bulan di rumah. 2 bulan ke 3 bulan. Tiba-tiba kerja jalan juga kan. Syok tak? Itu yang syok lah. Kan, tapi lepas tu kena pisah balik dengan family 6 bulan on travel kan. Okey tak? Saya tanya wife dia, okey tak macam ni? Dia kata nak buat macam mana? Tapi syok lah duit banyak kan. Pakai kereta pun sampai abad lah. Kan, Wellfire, Alphard kan. Apa nama ni, Porsche apa nama tu yang besar tu? Porsche SUV tu. Apa nama tu? Makan ke apa nama dah. Pakai SUV Porsche kan. Tapi hidup mewah lah. Tapi itulah husband dia kena berjauhan 6 bulan kali kan. Okay, itu caranya. Mana ada semua mudah semua kan. Ada kurang lebih sini kan. Okay, saya kata tu. Tapi kalau you nak tahu pasal benda ni, you can call Alam Akademi Laut Malaysia to give a talk on about this lah, about the deck, about the crew members on the ship. So Alam the train captain, the train engineer on shipping semua ni kan. Alam ni is institute academy, and it belong to Petronas, right? Dia punya station dekat PD kot, dekat Port Dickson macam saya kan, right? So the other part, this is a crew for maritime, crew for for inland waterways, lain pula workers in the inland waterways have 3 main function. The boat master, macam captain ni, is responsible for the barge, navigation and maintenance and the crew. Helmsman assist with the navigation, ni pembantu, and boatman also assist during navigation and thus maintenance and mooring. You know mooring? What is mooring? Who knows? What is mooring in shipping? Siapa tahu? Mooring, who knows? Parking, kan? Parking of the ship. Parking of the ship and barge, right? So parking ni bukan senang untuk kapal ni, right? It's not easy. It's not like your car parking or motorcycle parking. Dia kena very teliti lah, right? So that's why you observe when the ship need to harbor or berthing at the deck, at the dock of the harbor, before they enter the harbor, the pilot come in to the ship. Right? The pilot is working with the harbor port authorities. The pilot is working with the port authorities there. So before the ship can enter the port, they will need a pilot from the port authority to guide them to park there, to enter the port and park there, harboring, mooring there, right? Faham tak? Because captain tak biasa tengah tempat-tempat di port ni, setengah port dia perlukan, dia sempit jadi that's why they need the port pilot to help them, to guide them, right? Even barge also, because big barges need special pilot, and a pilot to guide them to park at the port. Because because why you need to do that for ship? You just imagine ship punya magnitude size tu is way bigger than the trucks. So if nothing happen, it will damage the ship and also damage the deck, the dock or the port at the port. Docking panggil dia dock. So you need pilots that familiar with the area. So pilot from the port authorities lah yang familiar kan. Dia akan naik kapal, dia akan bantu captain untuk mooring at the port. That's why if you observe the ship, there's a fan, like a fan kipas kiri kanan kapal. Faham tak? Ada fan kiri kanan kapal. That fan is for mooring. Nak tolak kapal. Selalunya kalau big ships, the tugboat help to push. But kadang-kadang small ship, they need just a mooring fan, to adjust kiri kanan kapal lah, kiri kanan kapal kan. Kapal memang depan belakang saja kan. Tapi kiri kanan macam mana? Ada fan dia, ada dia punya mooring fan dia kan, kiri kanan. Kalau you tengok boat ada. Big ship ada juga, tapi selalunya dibantu oleh tugboat. So, any questions about this on inland waterways? Any question on inland waterways?
Ada, sir.
Tak ada So hopefully you understand when you say water transport, you refer these two lah maritime and inland. Tapi our cost is about what maritime saja kan. Tapi saya cerita sikit sebab bila awak baca literature, they mention waterways, they mention water transport. Nanti saya kata water transport ni focus on inland waterways. Tapi dia assume water transport ni both lah. Because water kan. It can be salty water, it can be fresh water. So salty water is sea water lah. Sea water refer to maritime. Sea water refer to inland waterways. But they both are water transport. Alright? Lepas tu saya highlight benda ni for you to know lah the difference. Okay? Any question? No questions? Semua okay? Faham Siapa yang kerja kapal sekarang ni untung lah. But kapal demand very high. The liners demand is very high. That's why they can put the freight rates too high. Sampai their profit is more than Amazon. Sebelum ni tak pernah shipping liners punya profit lebih tinggi pada Amazon. Tak pernah. Sekarang ni is more than that. Because of the freight rate naik gila-gila. Because you need to stay idle for many days to buka Port Los Angeles 13 days to buka Port Los Angeles kat luar. How many thousand per day is 100,000 plus based on the weight of the ship. Per day punya cost is 100,000 plus of the ship. If 13 days, how many millions lah? Siapa nak pay cost? Freight rates lah tambah, betul tak? That's why in this case the port authority salahkan freight, salahkan shippers, shipping lines. Sebab naikkan harga kadar tu, kadar freight tu kan. Exporter salahkan liner juga. Tapi sebenarnya siapa nak tanggung kos? Liner staying idle at the port for a few weeks. Captain makan free, tidur makan free 2 minggu, siapa nak tanggung? Betul tak? Captain gaji sebulan $100,000 kan. Sepatutnya guna betul-betul ship tu. Tapi 3 minggu dah stay idle. Just imagine, rugi lah kan. Siapa nak tanggung rugi macam mana? Naikkan cost rate, freight rates. Daripada, you just imagine daripada 1,000 to 24,000. It will come to the extent 35,000 per box. Just imagine how many percent? 350% naik kan. See, that's the reason, right? And this thing will go on until the end of 2022 or early 2023. Just imagine. Itu pun kalau pandemik habis. Kalau pandemik tak habis lagi, masalah. Kan, just pray to God the pandemik habis lah. Ya kan? Kalau tak, it's worse lah. It's worse scenario. Government cannot afford to do PKP again. Affect the government expenses and revenues and profit. Government need to have money surplus also to maintain the economy of the country. Kalau asyik rugi je kerja, hutang tak habis, masalah kan. Rakyat nak duit, nak insentif kan. Tapi duit kerja tak ada. Ekonomi tak jalan banyak sebab PKP. Masalah. That's why now the government won't do any lockdown. Dia akan buka juga. Tinggi ke rendah ke buka juga kan. Masing-masing jaga diri masing-masing lah. Okay. So take care lah. You must remember that in UEM there's many cases of COVID. Ada few department ada case. Dan baru dapat tahu ni satu orang yang penjual makanan ada dapat COVID juga. Dalam penjual makanan dalam UEM lah. Tetapi tak tahu kat mana lah kan. So be careful lah. Even actually the scenario is worse than before tau. Tapi sebab dia orang confident ada vaksin ni kan. Boleh lah. Tapi masalahnya vaksin pun sekarang dah lemah. Dan especially siapa yang ambil Sinovac. Sinovac can last for 3 months only. Right. Lepas tu macam tak ada vaksin lah. Open to COVID. Pfizer dengan AstraZeneca 6 bulan. Lepas tu kena ambil booster tu. Faham tak? Kena ambil booster. Kalau booster lah tahan berapa bulan pula. Esok tak habis lagi kes, booster dah tamat tempoh, ambil second booster pula kan. Lepas tu third booster pula. Lepas tu jadi apa? Jadi Superman lah semua. Kan? Betul tak? Superman lah kan. Booster vaksin semua kan. So be careful lah you all. Siapa yang duduk UM tu hati-hati. Sebab dalam UM banyak kes. Cuma dia tak beritahu lah. Dia beritahu tempat je kat mana. Dekat saya dekat fakulti FWB ada. Dekat UMIT ada. Dekat apa nama ni, ada few lah. Kena hati-hati lah. Dia tak cakap banyak mana orang, tapi tempat-tempat tu ada kes lah. Dan baru-baru ni dekat taman saya ni, di taman lain lah. Seperti saya ada grup WhatsApp tu, dia kata dia tamannya penduduk tu pekerja kedai makan di UM kena COVID. Yang ni yang masalah ni kan. Kan itu yang saya takut kadang-kadang, tapi lah you all try the best to take care yourself and others leave it to God lah. Lah nasib kan Okay, so take care and we continue our class next week. Okay. Alright, any question you can ask. If not, you can dismiss class. Okay.
Thank you, Doctor.
Alright, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor.